what could possibly stop the Dodgers from repeating as World Series champs this year?
One word: randomness. And that's the difficulty, guys, in betting baseball, I think. It's not the same as the NBA, where typically the most talented team wins, especially based on a 7-game series in the postseason. It's not like football, where, again, typically the better team wins. In baseball, and especially in the postseason, randomness comes into play so much. If you are a hot team, then you can go out and be like an 83-win team like the Cardinals were the year they won the World Series. You don't have to be like a 100-win juggernaut to go out and get a ring on your finger. And that ultimately, and the fragility of pitching, really. Let's say the Dodgers get 2 bad starts in a row in a 5-game series. All of a sudden, you better come out and play 3 really, really good games to claw back and get out of that division series.
Jeff, 2 teams that significantly bolstered their chances this offseason to win it all are a couple of old NL East rivals from the 1980s, the New York Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals. The Mets adding Francisco Lindor at shortstop. The Cardinals adding Nolan Arenado at the hot corner in a trade with the Rockies. Right now, the Vegas markets think the Mets are the better team, sitting at 10-1 to win the World Series. Do you agree with that assessment as compared to the Redbirds?
I do think the Mets are a better team. I think the Mets are a more talented team. I also think the Mets are in an extremely difficult division. And if you look at the National League East, there's a good argument to be made that the Mets aren't even the best team in their own division, that the Atlanta Braves, who have won a few of those division titles in a row now, could stake that claim. There's an argument to be made that the Washington Nationals, who struggled last year, but the year before got a big old golden diamond ring on their finger, are going to come back and be pretty good. There's a good argument in favor of the Miami Marlins, who made the playoffs last year. And the Philadelphia Phillies, of course, have returned most of the team from last year that wasn't all that great, but they are talented. The Cardinals, on the other hand, are in a division that is best described, and kindly so, as a dumpster fire. And listen, I'm a Midwest guy. I grew up in Cleveland. I live in Kansas City. I try and represent Midwest baseball as much as I can. I'm probably not going to be watching a lot of National League Central games this year. And the Cardinals are as much a favorite in that division because of the teams underneath them as they are because of the talent that they themselves have.
All right, the schedule is set to start, or I should say the season is set to start on April 1st. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the absolute most confident, it's a lock. Where do you stand on the season starting on time?
I would say I'm an 8 or 9 at this point, and that's not based on anything other than the legal challenge that would have to come if Major League Baseball were to suspend play at the beginning of the season. If they tried to do that, the MLBPA would take them right to court instantaneously and try and get an injunction against it and continue games going on as scheduled. And Major League Baseball would need a really good argument in favor of trying to do something like that. Look, there have been a couple of times that they've tried to in discussions, and the MLBPA essentially just said, nope, not interested. If you want to push back the season, you're going to have to give us something that we really want. And MLB wasn't interested in that. And so because of that, there's a schedule in place. There's a collective bargaining agreement that says you will adhere to this schedule. So I think ultimately, barring something crazy from happening, they're going to be playing on April 1st.
All right, if that season gets started on April 1st, we know it ends in October, maybe November, with some postseason baseball. And everyone's jumping on, from the public, the Dodgers bandwagon for good reason. They're extremely talented. The Yankees also, I'm sure, going to be a pretty public team when it comes to the futures market. But, Jeff, let's take some teams outside those top 4 or 5 in terms of shortest odds to win the World Series. Is there a team outside that level or outside that kind of group of teams that you think is worth throwing a few bucks on that could give you a good return on investment if all things fall in place and they win it all?
I mean, it's not far outside here, but let's not forget, guys, the Atlanta Braves had the Dodgers' backs up against the wall in the NLCS this year. They looked like they were going to be the ones going on to face the Tampa Bay Rays in the World Series. And on top of the moves that they've made this offseason, bringing Marcelo Zuna back. They get Mike Soroka, who missed last season and who arguably is their best pitcher, to go along with Max Fried and Ian Anderson. Their rotation, adding Charlie Morton this year, they're a good team. And I think you can make the argument that they're actually the second best team in baseball. No offense to the Padres, good argument for them too, but I love the Atlanta Braves. If you want to go down and potentially make a little bit more money, the Toronto Blue Jays at 20-1, I believe, going and getting George Springer and adding him to a playoff team. The Rays, I don't get why they're so low. I know they lost Snell. I know they lost Morton. I also know that this is a team that never has been about those individual players. They are always, the sum is greater than the individual parts. And if you want to really make some money, keep an eye on the Washington Nationals. Like I said, love the Braves, like the Mets a lot. Nationals are still going to be coming out there with Scherzer, Strasburg, and Corbin at the top of that rotation. And when you have Juan Soto, who I believe is the best hitter in Major League Baseball today, and have surrounded him with some better players and better options in that lineup, I think the Nationals have a chance this year to be a lot more like their 2019 team than they were 2020.